Hello and welcome to another Magic Online video. Today we're gonna join a draft league and let's see what we can do here. So this is Aether Revolt Kaladesh draft, and there we go. Let's get started here with booster number 1, where our rare is not bad, but certainly not an exciting rare. Gifted Aetherborn, on the other hand, a very solid uncommon. Other good cards in the pack are Aether Poisoner, Caught in the Brides is decent removal, Destructive Tampering is very good as a finisher in the red aggressive decks, and I guess Leave in the Dust is a decent blue card as well. But yeah, we'll be taking the Gifted Aetherborn here and hope to pick up some more black cards. Baral, Chief of Compliance, not really exciting in a draft deck. Then we've got Chandra's Revolution, which looks very appealing here. We've got Dawnfeather Eagle, although black-white is not the best combination. We've got the Skyship Plunderer, which is also just a solid flyer. Bastion Inventor, if we go for the Improvise plan. Defiant Salvager is not the most exciting card, so I think here I want to take the Chandra's Revolution, since I think it's just one of the better cards and also combines nicely with the Aetherborn. Otherwise I would probably be looking at one of these blue cards. But yeah, let's take the Chandra's Revolution here, I think. Gonti's Machinations, not really a card. So let's take Chandra's Revolution. And let's take a look here. We've got a few options. We've got the Renegade map, although black-red doesn't have a whole lot of the cards with Revolt that really require you to have cards like Renegade map, although it is still an Improvise enabler. If we end up in an Improvise deck, which red-black could be, we've got the Automaton, which is just a solid 2-drop. It's an artifact for Improvise purposes. Renegade Rallier, but it's not really in our colors here at this point. Same with the Wheelsmith, although we could still jump into red-white if we wanted to. Bastion Inventor still solid. Same with the Cavalry, so a lot of options here actually. We could just take the more powerful card here, regardless of color, which I think would probably be something like the Cavalry, but I think I'm gonna try and stick to red for now and take the Automaton and see where that leads us. Alright, so here we've got a few more good blue options. Again, another Bastion Inventor, Hinterland Drake, also very solid. And I think that's about it. These green cards are not terribly exciting. Same with the Watchful Automaton. So I think blue might be open here. So that leads us to the question, do we want the Bastion Inventor or Hinterland Drake? Although we did already pass 2 Bastion Inventors, and we do have an artifact for potential Improvised deck. But I think the Hinterland Drake might be slightly better here for us. Yeah, I think I'll take the Drake here. Alright, what's next? We've got a Siege Modification, which, not really a big fan of the card. We've got another Dawnfeather Eagle, but we haven't really seen many white cards in previous packs. We've got an Implement of Ferocity, which is a solid green implement, but these other cards are all kind of weak. So let's see here. Could take a Resourceful Return, but that's not super exciting. Could take a Leave in the Dust, which is a solid blue card. I think it's better than the Tactician here, or Technician. So yeah, I think we'll take a Leave in the Dust here and look to move into blue and see where that leads us. Alright, so we've got a Destructive Tampering still in the pack, which could be a sign that red might be open. Same with another Welder Automaton. We've got an Augmenting Automaton, although I think at this point it's pretty clear that black isn't open, even though we first picked the Aetherborn. We didn't get very many good black cards, and Yeah, the Aether Herder, again, not the most exciting green card. So here I think it's between the Tampering or the Welder Automaton. I do like having Tampering in my red decks, but I think the Automaton, it's a 2-drop, fits our curve nicely, especially if we don't end up playing the Aetherborn, and it sets us up nicely for improvise cards that we might pick up later. Alright, here, again, not a whole lot. These packs have been pretty weak overall, I would say. I think the best card here is probably the Girapor Osprey, but we're clearly not white at the moment. It's not like we have a ton of blue or black cards at this point, so might still be able to move in another color if that happens to be open. Could take the Crawler, but that's kind of unexciting. Same with the Technician here. So yeah, I think I'll take the Osprey here kind of as a speculative pick. And what did we get here? Consulate Crackdown, not really a very good rare. Got a Countless Gears Renegade. Got a Lothnu Sailback, which is actually not the worst 5-drop, even though Kaladesh has some pretty good 5-drops as well, like the Giant. But since we are probably going to be red here and the Sailback is not a terrible pick, I think I'll take it over maybe the Renegade, which we're not really white here at this point, and I don't think I want a second Leave in the Dust. So yeah, let's take the Sailback. Alright, let's see here. I've got a Crackdown Construct, not really exciting. Night Market Aeronaut, not really exciting. Same with the Crawler. So maybe we just pick up the Scuttler in case we end up with a bunch of cheap artifacts we can return, but it's certainly not an exciting card. But maybe just cutting off blue is something we should do here. So yeah, let's take the Scuttler. I think we take the Solvent in case we pick up more improvised cards, even though we did pass a couple of those Bastion Inventors early. But I don't think there's anything else we're interested in here. So let's take the Solvents. Another Sailback. I think I'll take that over a Mobile Garrison, which is not the best vehicle. So pack 1, pretty unexciting, all things told. Picked up an Aetherborn, but then didn't get any good black cards. Let's take the foil Mountain here. I don't think we want an Enforcer or a Strangler. We can either take the Implement of Improvement if we just want more artifacts for improvise purposes, or we can take the Technician in case we end up light on playables and we need another 5-drop. And I guess we'll take an Enforcer here. So yeah, pretty unexciting pack 1, unfortunately. Don't think we'll end up playing black, as we open another Gifted Aetherborn and another Chandra's Revolution, so this is kind of awkward. So right now our deck looks to be blue-red, although our blue cards are not that exciting. So we could maybe still end up red-black here. Could have maybe taken one of those late Alley Stranglers just to have more black playables. Could just take the Chandra's Revolution because we probably end up playing red here, but the Aetherborn is a very powerful black card. And what are the other options? We're not going to move into green. Baral is not exciting. The Moray is not that exciting if we don't have an energy theme. So yeah, I think here it's between moving back into black with a second Aetherborn or just taking the safer Chandra's Revolution pick. But I think I probably want to take the higher variance pick here of the Aetherborn and try to still get enough black cards in this pack. And then we probably won't have a lot of black cards in the third pack, but I think that's fine. Alright, so here we could pick up another Chandra's Revolution. We see another Bastion Inventor, but maybe that ship has sailed at this point. And Chandra's Revolution is a solid removal spell. But we just have to keep in mind that we have very few playables at this point, so now we really have to stick to our guns and commit to red-black if we take this Chandra's Revolution. Service Schematic, another option if we have improvised cards. Defiant Salvager goes nicely with the Service Schematic. but I think those are the primary picks. Banned are another good card here, but we're clearly not in green. So let's take the Chandra's Revolution. And let's take a look here. We've got the Karizev's Expertise, not really a great limited card, unfortunately. We've got an Augmenting Automaton, Resourceful Return. Those are pretty much the cards that jump out at me. Reverse Engineer would be solid if we're more into blue, but I think at this point we want to try and stick to red-black. Our blue cards aren't that exciting. So let's see here. Could also take an Emerald Gear Smasher, but that's also not that exciting. So I think it's between the Automaton, the Return, and the Gear Smasher. Could maybe also just take a combat trick in Precise Strike. We do need more creatures though, so maybe we just take the Gear Smasher, even though it's not that exciting, just to fill out our curve a bit better. And hope to pick up some more exciting cards here, and Shock, certainly an exciting card to pick up here. A nice little cheap removal spell. Implement of Combustion would also be great. And Tanzerat's Touch, not really a card we're that interested in here. And yeah, I think it's a pretty easy Shock here. Alright, Planar Bridge, not really a card. Augmenting Automaton could be the pick. Fenhauler would also be alright here. We've got a bunch of artifacts already, but Destructive Tampering is also pretty appealing because it's a nice versatile card, can act as a finisher. So I think here is between the Tampering and the Fenhauler. We already have a bunch of beefy creatures here in the sailback, so maybe just taking the Tampering is more important here. But I would take a Fenhauler if we get another one. Alright, so here we have an Aether Poisoner, which is very good. We've got an Iron Tread Crusher, which is also solid. And the Black Implement is also fine, same with the Renegade map. But I think here I probably want to just take the Poisoner, just a solid black 2-drop. Has some artifact synergies, and yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with the Poisoner here. Alright, so we've got a Resourceful Return, a Welder Automaton, and a Dark Intimations. Unfortunately, we don't have any mana fixing, did not pick up any Renegade maps, so I don't think we can live the dream of Dark Intimations here, even though it is a sweet card. I think I'll just stick with a boring Welder Automaton. And just passing another Resourceful Return, another bunch of mediocre green cards, and this is probably like the 5th Consulate turret we see. So yeah, let's take the Automaton here, be relatively happy with it. And alright, Cruel Finality, solid black removal spell. What else is in the pack? Not much. We've got a Hidden Stockpile, a Countless Gears Renegade, nothing too exciting. But Cruel Finality, pretty decent here. Alright, Mobile Garrison, Renegade Getaway. Not a lot of great stuff. Yet another Consulate turret. I think here it's between the Garrison and the Renegade's Getaway. Might just take the Garrison, since we do have a number of 2-drops that can crew the Garrison at least. And we might need the extra playable card here, while the Getaway is pretty unexciting, even though it does combine nicely with our Death Touch creatures. So maybe the Getaway is actually fine in our deck, because we do have the 2 Aetherborns and the Poisoner, and giving a Death Touch creature indestructible is actually quite nice, and we get to pick up a Garrison here, or we could go with a Precise Strike, which also combines nicely with our Death Touch creatures. So yeah, it's between the Precise Strike and the Garrison. I think I would rather have the Garrison here, I think. And here it's between the Automaton and the Resourceful Return. The Return is very nice with cards like Aether Poisoner. We also have a bunch of Welder Automatons to give us the artifact. So yeah, I don't hate a resourceful return here. The automaton is pretty mana intensive. And we get to pick up a precise strike anyways. Do we want that over a siege modification? Siege modification is a pretty high variance card, can win you games that you have no business winning. But I think I prefer the cheaper combat trick here, and we get to pick up an automaton anyways, and another precise strike, so alright. Things went a lot better in our second pack here. Got to pick up another Aetherborn, a bunch of solid black removal spells, and some more red cards, and whoa. Hello there, Chandra. We'll be taking you. What else is in the pack? Snare Thopter is a pretty exciting uncommon. We've got Tidy Conclusion, which is very solid, and I would also play Weldfast Monitor in this deck, and maybe even a Salivating Gremlins. But yeah, Chandra that is. Alright, what do we have here? We've got a Bomat Bazaar Barge, which is fine, even though most of our creatures are only 2 power, so it might be tricky to crew the Bazaar Barge. We've got a Live Fast, which is not the most exciting draw spell, but could maybe make the cut. And I think that's about it for us. I don't think we're interested in a 7-drop, and Terror of the Fairgrounds is quite weak. We see a bunch of very good green cards here, which is typical of Kaladesh. You've got a lot of solid green commons and uncommons. But yeah, I think we'll be taking the Bazaar Barge. I don't think Fateful Showdown is a very good card, while the Bazaar Barge is pretty solid in most creature decks. So yeah, let's take the Bazaar Barge. And here we see a bunch of very good white cards in Fairgrounds Warden and Revoke Privileges. Black-Red gives us Thriving Grubs, the Club Security, and that's about it. Build to Smash actually not bad with all these Welder Automatons. So it might actually be between the Thriving Grubs and the Build to Smash here. We do only have 10 creatures at this point, so would like to pick up a few more. We do already have a combat trick in Precise Strike, so maybe we just want the extra 2-drop creature here, since we are looking to be a fairly aggressive deck with this Destructive Tampering as a finisher. So yeah, I think I'll take the Thriving Grubs, hope to wield the Build to Smash, even though that seems pretty unlikely. But we might pick up more Build to Smashes later. So let's take a Thriving Grubs. And here we've got a Oval Chase Daredevil, which is actually quite good in our deck. We've got a bunch of artifacts to get her back. We've got a Thriving Rats, but that's pretty unexciting. Renegade Tactics is fine. But yeah, I think I very much like the Daredevil here. Here we have an ambitious Aetherborn if we need more 5-drops. We've got a Torch Gauntlet, even though it's not a great equipment. And another 7-drop. Don't think we're giant spectacling. So I think we'll just take an Aetherborn here, and that's probably our last 5-drop. Might be even slightly better than the Sailback. So let's take the Aetherborn. Alright, so here we've got a few options. We've got Build to Smash and Subtle Strike, both cards I would not mind playing. But I think given our 3 Welder Automatons, we probably want a Build to Smash here. Although Subtle Strike can lead to some nice turns. But yeah, I think we want the Build to Smash, and we're not interested in an Aradara Express, so let's take the Build to Smash. And here we've got a Reckless Fireweaver, Speedway Fanatic, Fortuitous Find. Morbid Curiosity doesn't really fit into our deck very well, although I guess it combines nicely with our Daredevil, but that's about it. So here we could take a Fortuitous Find just to get more grindy elements, although we do already have a Resourceful Return. So maybe it's just a Speedway Fanatic. Not the most exciting card, but we do have at least 2 vehicles. And if we can just play it on turn 2, it has haste, so can get in there right away. So let's take the Speedway Fanatic. And here it's between the Fretwork Colony and a Malphis squad. Looking at our curve, I don't think we would mind another 4-drop. We already have a whole lot of 2-drops. And the Colony goes better in a green-black deck with more +1/+1 counter synergies, even though it's still fine in any black aggressive deck. But the Malphis squad has a few more synergies in our deck and I think fits better in our curve. And here, probably just take a Club Security, but I don't think we're playing this one. And here, might as well pick up an Accomplished Automaton if we maybe are up against a very grindy deck and need more 7-drops for some reason, but probably not starting it. Don't think we need a second Club Security, so might as well take a Mind Rot for those control matchups. And here, I guess we'll take just the best card, even though this is a league, so we probably don't end up facing our opponents that are in this draft. But let's take the crab anyways. Let's take Refurbish. And a 9th Bridge Patrol. Alright, so our deck after the first pack looked pretty terrible. But now I would say it's solid. It's not the most exciting draft deck ever, but we did pick up a Chandra, so that's nice. So now it's time to build our deck. We've got 27 cards right here. So let's group creatures and non-creatures separate here. So definitely want to keep our Chandra's Revolutions. The Cruel Finality looks good. Destructive Tampering looks good. I don't think we'll end up playing this Renegade Getaway. Now that we did pick up Build to Smash, I think we can probably ditch the Precise Strike, even though it does combine nicely with our Death Touch creatures. Maybe we don't need this Augmenting Automaton. Do already have all these mana sinks in the Welder Automaton. Thriving Grubs is probably one of our weakest 2-drops here. Don't have a ton of energy besides the Poisoner. Cards I'm considering cutting is maybe 1 Sailback. Maybe the Augmenting Automaton. So yeah, I think this is probably a 16 land deck. Our curve is not terribly high. Although double black for the Aetherborn on turn 2 might be tricky. But I guess if we play the Gifted Aetherborn on turn 4, it's still fine. And we do have a lot of colorless 2-drops, so that also helps. Probably want to cut the Augmenting Automaton. Just because we have all these Welder Automatons already taking up our mana in the late game. I don't think a 1-mana 1/1 is going to do a whole lot for us. So that leads us to this. 24 cards, 16 lands. I think that's fine. Our curve is not terribly high, although we do have 3 5-drops. But I don't think any of these other cards are better. Could maybe just play a Precise Strike over one of our 5-drops, just to be slightly more aggressive, low to the ground, and does go well with our Death Touch guys. And then we could maybe cut a Sailback. And taking a look at our colors, it's pretty evenly split. Do want double black for the Aetherborn, so probably slightly skewed towards black. So if we go to add basic lands, suggest 8 and 8. Yeah, if we're playing 16 lands, we probably can't afford to go 9 and 7. Even though our Gifted Aetherborns would like a 9th Swamp. Although our 2-drop creatures are mostly colorless and black. So maybe we could get away with 9 and 7. Just so we can cast these Aetherborns more reliably. This is probably fine. Alright, this is the deck we're going with. So time to jump into our first match.